Today I'm going to try to draw this alleyway in Tallinn, Estonia, and yeah, you're not ready for this. I'm going to start off as objective as I can, and that won't last long, but this train is headed off the rails, and there's no stopping it. Sometimes learning to draw is about feeling a little dumb and a lot incapable. I just have to accept that. You're watching this at 1.5 times speed. You're welcome. But not because the video would have been too long. It was actually exactly 10 minutes. But because so little happens in today's video. I did so unimaginably little with this drawing. And not for a lack of trying. I just put too much stock in my abilities. Thought I could make something really cool. And what was left in the end was, well, let's find out together. The first thing I did for about 72 hours straight was plot a bunch of points and barely draw any lines so that I might be able to understand how to manage this perspective. It seems simple enough. It is simple enough. It's like the simplest perspective to draw, but I got way too in my head about it. I understand that it's 1-point perspective. I recognize that the vanishing point is pretty much that arched doorway in the center, but I completely forgot anything else. Now, I was really grasping at straws, trying to make this alley work, but other than those two things, I really struggled with this drawing in the moment. As you can see, I am making an effort to angle these lines toward that vanishing point, but I went into them without any rhyme or reason. The height of these doors, windows, and anything else that isn't the two walls themselves is just made up, I guess, because I was fixated on, well, angling toward the vanishing point. That's it. To be a little positive and to stick with those walls for 1 second, I do think their general shape turned out okay, maybe more than okay. When I compare the drawing to the reference, those stand out as being surprisingly accurate, at least in contrast to everything else. Could I elaborate? Could I offer any insight into why that might be? I cannot. I think I just eyeballed them. I figured out where they roughly stopped at the top and bottom of what I wanted the frame to be, and I drew them in. As you'll see, many other things were likewise eyeballed, and they didn't turn out so hot. It's somewhere around here that I realized just how in over my head I was, and that feeling came from recognizing how little space I had to draw in all of these doorways and windows and vines and wires and pipes and lights and gutters and signs and etc. I was not prepared for that. Candidly, while this reference seemed fun because of the nice old building in the center, I actually decided to draw it because of all those little things. I thought they would make for fun details that I could sketch in. I was excited about the windows because I knew I wouldn't have to worry about the panes of glass or whatever, which, in case you haven't noticed, have been giving me a little too much grief as of late. The doorways seemed like an interesting challenge, and the perspective was the least of my worries, which I guess turned out to kind of be true in a sense. But because of my artistic incompetence, I pretty much end up making two big buildings on either side, leaving no room for any of those little details, no sense of scale, and no intrigue whatsoever. When I realized I was in too deep and to what extent, I was over it. I really wanted to give up on this one. Everything I did seemed to make it a little worse, and every minute that passed convinced me more and more that this drawing would never see the light of day. It was until this moment, me speaking to you about it now, that I've decided to just deal with it. And when I say this moment, I mean like right now, not when I started the voiceover. Upon hitting record, I was still 50-50. But Then I remembered the annoying reality of this channel, of this series, that this is about learning to draw. It's not, hey, look what I can do. I'm really good at this. It's about the process. And sometimes the process is annoying and nauseating and bad. And it would be naive of me to think that this type of thing won't continue to occur along the way. And it would be unfair of me to only display the drawings that I like. And you don't watch this channel for the education or the aesthetic satisfaction, but most likely to experience the process taking place and slow, sometimes backward moving progress, if that's a thing. I'd be doing everyone a disservice, myself included, if I discreetly slipped this one under the rug and moved on to the next one like nothing happened. Would that have made me look a lot better? I guess, yeah. Yeah, it would have. But let's not linger on that thought too long because I'm still just sat here recording the audio. I could get rid of this anytime I want. Something positive I'll say is that I sometimes enjoy the puzzle of figuring out the perspective of a drawing. I guess for me, it's more like forcing two puzzle pieces together that don't fit. But despite that, I can still have a lot of fun with it. For instance, I enjoyed drawing the top portion on the right side, also the little step on the bottom left. These things don't make for a good drawing, but they're small advances toward, hopefully, a future competence. Cool, great, fantastic. We're almost done. Here it is in all its glory. I loathe the thought of it, and looking at it is like gazing into a deep, dark abyss of failure. I hope you love it. Let me know in the comments, or don't, whatever. I appreciate you for taking the time. I'm so sorry. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.